So Silvia is extremely fun. I've been looking forward to a character like Silvia since I first started playing this game. Traditionally, my favorite characters in other games similar to this have been characters that have transform kits, they have multiple skills that are on different sides of their kits, and you have to switch between them. And I also love pistol characters in this game because the pistol skill moving reload gives you so many options for cool combos with your skills, with its ability to reset your cooldowns by so much. So overall, I love Silvia. Her kit is everything I want in a character, and honestly, she's perfect. Now, when it comes to my build for Silvia, I can say this with full confidence that this is the build that I have landed on and loved the most in my time playing her. And trust me, it's not an untested build. This build has had rigorous testing through playing it on characters that also have pistols like Aya and ISOL. I know its ins and outs thoroughly, and there's so much you can do with it, even if the items you want are relatively contested. Some cool things about this build are that you can finish your weapon extremely fast, as well as an Imperial Crown to go with it. They both finish in just 2 zones. Also, you can have those 2 items done before Tree of Life even comes online. So if, for example, you finish your weapon and you finish your crown, you're right next to the hotel tree and you're able to contest it with complete impunity. No one can mess with you. You are so much stronger than almost every other character in the game. The only way you'd lose it is if you somehow get 1v2'd or 1v3'd. Now let's actually get into the items I've chosen. So the weapon of choice is going to be Electron Blaster. And you might be thinking, that's a little odd. Electron Blaster doesn't seem like the kind of weapon you'd want for a spell amp character. And see, that's just the thing. This isn't just a dedicated spell amp character. Pistol in general actually does really well being a hybrid build. Electron Blaster gives you the ability to fight people when you're on cooldown. Your auto attacks will finally matter. Elegance and Kel and some of the other pistols like Devil's Marksman have really slow auto attacks. They have no built-in attack speed, and while Elegance does bring about 90 or so attack power, Electron Blaster brings the same relative amount of damage with its extra normal attack damage and 65 attack power, but also packing 50% attack speed and far more ammo. So what that means is that you'll have really good skills because you have a lot of attack power on your weapon and a lot of spell amp in your build, but you'll also have the ability to have strong autos for when you're on cooldown, which every character struggles with, especially pistol characters when you don't have moving reload up at the moment. Now, as for the rest of the build, these 5 items are what I would call my favorite core spell amp build at the moment. The core of the build is Rocker's Jacket and Uchiwa. Rocker's Jacket and Uchiwa replace the previous meta of White Crane Fan and a variety of chest pieces like EOD Suit, Dragon Dobok, or maybe even Commander's Armor, and instead gives you a bunch of utility that you wouldn't have with those pieces while still giving you healing reduction on your skills. Rocker's Jacket brings some healing reduction, it brings you out of combat movement speed, it gives you 30 attack power, which does influence your skill's damage, gives you some defense and some normal attack damage reduction, and Uchiwa gives you the most flat amp on any accessory, as well as a bunch of mana regeneration and some lifesteal, which is not very relevant, but somewhat nice to have as an extra amount since you will be autoing a decent amount. Now, as for your head slot, Imperial Crown builds with Electron Blaster within your 2 zones of Avenue Beach, which is great. And for the Shah Jahan arm, it gives you 350 HP, which is a huge amount of max HP on an arm, and make sure you're relatively beefy in all of your fights. It also comes with 28 attack power, which again, as previously stated, does actually increase the damage of your skills, and it also makes your autos even more relevant. Now, as for the shoes, Straitjacket sneakers I put in the save plan as the default in case you can't get your Tree of Life. However, if you do get the Tree of Life after you rush your first 2 items here in Hotel, you can finish Glacial Shoes instead of Straitjacket sneakers. Now, Glacial Shoes are a good option. They give you a lot of out of combat movement speed, which makes you pretty much impossible to run from if you decide to bike on somebody as Silvia. When you're in your bike form, your out of combat movement speed is heavily amplified and you move extremely fast. Basically, no one can outrun you. In addition to its incredibly fast out of combat movement speed, Glacial Shoes also packs the most mana regeneration on a shoe, in addition to the most spell amp on a shoe. But for the sake of simplicity, I'll just be leaving Straitjackets on the save plan in case you don't happen to get your Tree of Life. Now, as for the route, it's relatively self-explanatory. Avenue is where you'll be getting a lot of your base components, especially your battery, which you need to finish your weapon. After you finish up an avenue, just make sure you get your battery. The rest of it's just a bonus. If you happen to get as much of this as you can, that's great. After you finish up an avenue, you should be headed towards beach using the teleporter, and there you'll be finishing up your weapon and your crown. And then after you do that, you should be going to contest the Tree of Life, but make sure you get leather along the way to finish your weapon. You can either do this by killing bats with a 30% chance to drop leather, dogs with a 100% chance to drop leather, but they're more dangerous to fight, or you can kill the chickens in Hotel. There's about 3 of them that spawn by the fountain, and they have about a 50% chance to drop leather. If you manage to secure your Tree of Life, you should finish up your shoes in Hotel. You'll have your crown, your weapon, and your shoes, and you'll be very strong. After that, you can move to school and archery, and that finishes the rest of your build, and that's the whole thing. Overall, I can't stress this enough, this build is wonderful. And yeah, that just about does it for the build and the route, so let's check out an example game. So one nice thing about this match so far is it looks like we're having nobody contesting our spawn, which means we can get Avenue completely to ourselves. Avenue is generally a pretty fast loot. I'd recommend looting this main building area if you can. Oftentimes it's really contested though, and they've added a lot more like extra containers around the side, so there are some decent loot boxes even if you can't get the main building. But if you get it all to yourself like this, it should only take a few seconds to get everything you need. Get chocolate and milk too when you get the chance, by the way. We'll be using that for food later. Cool, we got everything. So without spending too much more time, we're gonna go straight to beach before someone stops by and vacuums up all the hammers. I'd recommend eating all your bread right away and one of your waters, because that takes up inventory space that you truly cannot spare in this area. I drop off one of each of the 2 battery types to save some space, and I continue to craft stuff when I find it. We're good on hammers, we're just missing a chain, and we're all done. Nice. So, one thing about this build is that we do have to try and farm bats to get our leather. It's about a 30% chance to get the leather off of a bat. But the option of getting it off a bat is much easier than getting it off of, say, a dog. Because dogs do a lot more damage and they're a lot harder to kill. If you need another backup option, there are chickens right here in Hotel you can farm too, and those have an even higher drop chance than bats. But bats are convenient along the way, so I just grabbed those. Since we're here, we can also pick up a branch to finish our crown, and the idea is we want to finish our crown and weapon before we get the Tree of Life to spawn. Because we want to be able to fight anyone there who's trying to take the tree, and even take it for ourselves. So since we were unlucky, we do have to fight the dog, which means we're going to be going pretty low pretty early. I recommend kiting as much as you can for cooldowns because your weapon really doesn't do a lot of damage right now. Finishing my weapon as fast as I can, and then I'm going to be making some chocolate chip cookies to potentially take this fight if someone comes up to contest it, because we don't want to be fighting them with 400 HP. Like that. Your auto attacks are really strong with Electron Blaster, so don't forget to use those to your advantage. Now, since we managed to get a tree, we have 2 options to use it for. We can either make glacial shoes, which is what I'm going to be going for in this video. Your alternative is to make a bracelet of Scotty. Now, the choice is yours. Personally, I prefer to finish my shoes ASAP, and if I wait until Bracelet of Scotty, that means I have to do 2 more zones to finish my shoes, and I'd rather just finish them right now. So my goal right now is to get scrap, get these stones. You can either take these stones or the stones over here, but they got taken this game. Grind up the tree, make it into a glacial ice, and then finish your shoes. We're pretty strong after we finish those shoes. So what we should be trying to do right now is take any fights that come to us, but also find all of our pieces here in Hotel, and then we can head to school afterwards to get everything else. So I'm actually gonna see what this guy over here is built like. We might be able to just kill him easily. Nice. And actually they had our doll so we can finish our Uchiwa too. If you get the chance, you should also kill these wolves over here. Get the leather to finish your Shah Jahan. And there's plenty of drinks, so if you ever are having mana issues, just pick up random drinks, ice, water, etc. from hotel, and you can just drink those whenever you need mana. And now all we need is just the iron ball to go full build. We can either take that in forest, or we can take that in archery range. I'm just gonna go forest because there's a ping here we can also check. So it turns out that actually follows your target, which I actually didn't even know about, so that's actually interesting. So if your target dashes away while you're Eing to them, you will follow your target to wherever they go. We don't need those shoes, so we can take these out of our build because we made the glacials instead. Check for the iron ball. It's not there. Alright, we're gonna go to archery instead. Oh, there's a ping right next to us. It's a Shoichi. There we go. So the way I was able to target him there is that A-clicking, like attack moving, actually gives you some weird priority on targeting. Even though you don't have vision of the target, you'll be right at the edge of the bush and the game will think that you can see them even if you visually can't. Like I wouldn't be able to shoot them from here, but if I'm right there on the edge, it'll just eventually start shooting them even though I literally cannot see them. Just a weird idiosyncrasy with the game. Also, just another tip, if you are kind of low on HP and you're running between zones just trying to gather your materials, you can cue animals to heal yourself. And be aware when you're farming animals that your E can reset them, so don't use it if you don't think you can kill them right after you E them. There's the iron ball so we can finish our build. So we see more pings, and honestly, I said it before and I'll say it again, I just want to run down every ping that we see, because we are strong compared to everyone else. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, found him. There we go. So what I did there was use the moving reload active to give me a small burst of movement speed, which let me catch up. I also could have technically swapped onto my bike and just ran him down, but I figured that option was more reliable. Okay, here we go again. We've got more pings. Gonna grab console in case they try to run away. Oh, we got two actually. Got him. There we go. That was a little close actually. But we took the 2v1 and we still won. So since I'm not seeing a lot of pings, I'm just gonna start going around the map to try and get more of my passive activations. And in that process, I'm going to be looking for pings to potentially chase and try and get some kills. Oh, I got some pings underneath me. Looks like there's a fight happening based on how many pings there are. Oh, oh, I just barely missed the kill steal there. Hit the slow. Alright, he's gonna run, so we're gonna chase him down. Oh! Tagged him with the snipe, and I should be able to finish him here. Hit him with the E-lock on, Q spin. Did he have any food on him? Yeah, a little bit, not much though. Oh, I hit the chicken by accident. I'm gonna dip into the cemetery real quick to get my passive activation. So I actually am not going to chase that fight because I'm actually really interested to see if I can get all 15 zones. I'm pretty close. Dock, Uptown, Chapel are the only places I'm missing. So just for the fun of it, let's get all 15. And all that's left is Uptown. There it is. So getting all 15 gives us a nice little spell amp boost. I believe it's about 15%. We also have all 15 stacks of attack speed, so we are pretty fast in attack speed, despite not having that much innate attack speed. We're only gaining some from Electron Blaster itself, which is pretty good, but this is a lot more, which we don't have to actually spend item slots for. We got pings down in Dock. We know that Wickeline is in Hospital, but the thing is that her Wick fight's actually pretty terrible. I guess the biggest concern would just be making sure no one else takes it, but I don't know if we should really be trying to kill her ourselves, because if we get third-partied while we're taking her, that's not good. I'm gonna see if the Yuki's gonna come up through this area. Oh, nope, he died in the red zone. Huh. I guess I can call that a win. It's not a real kill, but we essentially ensured that he died. So call it 8.5. And we know the Kiara's down there. So if the Kiara's down there, we don't know where the Jackie or the ISOL are, but we could... Ooh, that might be someone trying to take... Oh no, Wick's in Pond. So what are those pings? Maybe it's just fighting the dog, actually. I'm gonna see if Wick's hurt at all. If anything, we could try and kite her out and take her if no one else is trying to contest her. Although before I do that, I should definitely take console so I don't get ran up on. Those pings might also be a Wick fight. Okay, so someone did get Wick. It's the Jackie. That's a hard build for us to beat, but if we kite them efficiently, we might be able to. Looks like they're fighting each other. Remember, your autos are really strong. We tagged her. So she should be really low. There we go. And she was the one who killed Wick, so we know that that's off the map now. No more Wick buff. Gonna knock her back, hit her with the Q, auto a few times. Our autos are really strong. Again, do keep that in mind. In fact, it might just be most of our damage at the moment. There we go. So all we have to do is finish off this ISOL. My only concern is we do kind of have no cameras, and that's a bit concerning against an ISOL. But we could take this force cord. Oh, there's no nails left on the map. Oh, we do have cameras. Nice. Our food's not terrible, but it's also not great. But these 3 cameras might give us a really good chance against him. I'm gonna grab console to make sure we have vision, because this is gonna be the final area. I'm gonna place 1 in this bush, because it's gonna be hard for him to know that we even have a camera that has vision on him, on the off chance that he tries to stealth in or place a bunch of traps. We see him coming over there. His build's gonna be auto attack focused, and I'm gonna switch between these 2 zones briefly to build up a little bit more of our fuel. Our game plan is poking with eventually all-ending with the bike. He landed his Qs, so we do want to get out. We tagged him again, but there's a bomb here. A Q would be a nice heal. Okay, he landed the Q again. I'm gonna slow him down. Hit him with the E. Trading damage back and forth is not the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna bait out his R real quick. Ideally, I'd like to go in off of a nice E hit, but I don't want to go in when I'm on cooldown. Okay, he whiffed his Q, so this is our chance to engage. There we go. And that's it. You know, 11 kills not bad for this character. And honestly, I really love this build. This is the build that I've been playing for a long time on Aya and ISOL. It's a nice hybrid Electron Blaster build that gives you a lot of attack power on your autos, extra normal. Your autos feel like they're actually relevant in fights, so you're not as cooldown reliant as most other amp builds would be, but you still have damage on your skills because you do have some flat amp, some percent amp coming from your head, your accessory, and your shoes. Overall, I love this build. I can't say it enough. This is something that I've been playing with for a long time on other characters, and it translates really well to Silvia. So yeah, that's gonna be it for Silvia. Honestly, I'm having so much fun playing her. She's such a fun character. But in any case, that's gonna be it for me. If you've been having fun on Silvia, if you've got cool builds or anything, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.